Chicken is I'm gonna celebrate my Hebrew birthday.
Amen. 50, what? That would be great. 10,
41.
more nigun with a strong kavana. Memale kol almin soviv kol almin mibaladecha ein shum metzius klal. Should be such a gilui shchina right now. A hisgal is really a revelation of light. Unprecedented light right now. Ay memale kol almin vesovev kol almin umi baladecha ein shum metzius klal memale kol almin vesovev kol almin umi baladecha ממלא כל עלמין, סובב כל עלמין בלעדיך, אין שום מציאות כלל. Okay, חברים. Let's buckle up. Round 2 of, they pass us around, round 2 of Am Yisrael reclaiming its dignity has begun this morning. Our precious soldiers should have the koach, oz, tvuna, and protection. Bezrat Hashem.
Amen.
To, when we say finish the job, finishing the job doesn't just mean whatever the officials have told, the army to do. Finishing the job is much more bigger. We have to finish the job. It's us. We have to finish the job. I want to say that there's so many precious Yidden in this community. I hope he's not here because I'm going to embarrass him a little bit. I don't think he's here. But one of the most beautiful souls that has graced our community in the last few years, it was Rabbi Mark Fishman. I don't know how many of you know him. This is a really, really shining, bright neshama. And he has a podcast that he does for his shul back in Montreal. 15-minute segments he does. We've been trying to find time to do it together. It finally worked out yesterday, right before the shir we had upstairs. And he asked such good questions, such like chazak questions to the point of speaking mipnimius alev, speaking from inside about what it feels like to be alive right now. Like questions you look forward to, not the same ones. It's so funny. Like Reb Shlomo would always, in interviews, whenever they'd ask him about his background, he's like, I'm waiting for someone to ask me about my foreground, not my background. The same thing. I was here. I grew up here. I did this. I learned by him. But then there's people that ask you about the future, which is so much more interesting than about the past. So he said at the end, and I realized it's like a game show. Like every question gets the next round. It's like next round of depth. Every question was getting deeper and deeper. I was like, oh my God, this is like, how much could you pack in 15 minutes? But he did. And he asked me if you could say one message right now to the Jews of Galut, what would it be? One message. And he said in a few sentences, like, you're killing me. In a few sentences. So, I don't remember exactly what I said, but when I thought about what we're going to be learning right now, when I've been thinking about what we've been learning here for all these years, and especially with the women's cheering, as well. It's like I said, like this, the pavement has been paved for 75 years. There's a pavement. And this I didn't say. I said I feel like the nace is that the ink that shows you like the marks on the road of where to go, it's still wet. And which means that you can still, like when we say this sometimes in Elul or in the first week of Tishrei, it's the week of wet pavement. That meaning there's a new year and the pavement's wet. And then like when you move into a house, Hashem, everyone should be able to move into wherever they need to move into. B'shat tova mutzlachat. Find a place. Hashem, Nisim, please. You could, you carve in the name of your family or your kids' names into the pavement of the sidewalk, and it's there forever, or in a certain place in the house, right? So it's like, for 75 years, there's been like paving the road, the pavements and everything. But somehow, the miracle is that now is the time to decide what we want to be charut, to be engraved in the sidewalk, or whatever you want to call it. And the things that are going to last, the Torah that's going to last now is the Torah of Mashiach, is the Torah of Geula, is the Torah of Chassidus, is the Torah of Pnimiyus HaNefesh, is the Torah that makes you not just think a lot, it's the Torah that's going to make you feel a lot and think a lot simultaneously. It's the Torah that you learn, that you see, you have an opportunity to fulfill every moment of your life. And I invited, I said, Lynn, don't just make Aliyah. Like, you don't need that pitch anymore. You don't need me or anyone to just tell you to come home. Not only is it's not effective, it's also not even the real reason. That's not really what's going on. Carve a hole in your heart find that hole that's already carved in your heart, that knows that that it wants more, and that it could be fed more, and that it could be satiated by a whole new light. And come join a revolution. And I feel that it's nothing short of a revolution. And you're all brothers in arms of something that we can't take for granted. The privilege of being part of a revolution of how we're living our Jewish lives in Eretz Yisrael doesn't put us higher or lower than anyone. It just is what it is. En ma la'asot, it is what it is. So you'll see with today's short piece that we have also, these are not Vortlach. Everything, and I'm so happy about this we got to Josh Concha's house last Friday night for the Tish. So I asked him to say something afterward. After I said something, I said, say something. So he started off by saying, well, we learned in a shir once that you always have to have like a Rebbe story at the table, no matter what, at any given Suda. And he pulls out like the most beautiful story about the Rebbe Rashab, I think it was. It was just so, I cannot explain to you what kind of koyach that gave me. I can't explain to you in words what kind of koyach it gave me. I went home with a smile in my heart, mamash, a smile in my heart. So Yehi Ratzon that today is learning also, this is a short piece from Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter speaking about what the whole inyan of having a Seudah of Shabbos is all about, but this also brings smiles to your hearts. And I know it's going to bring smiles to your children's hearts. That I'm sure about. So if you see on Kuf Ayin Vav, what we're going to be starting to speak about today is how the Arizal brings us into the Shabbos meals. Now I know that most of us, the minhag isn't to say these zmiras. In our house, Baruch Hashem, it is. I didn't grow up with it, but it is. And that, of course, is the three songs, the only three songs that we have from the Ari. Friday night, Azamer B'Shvachin, Shabbos day, Asadir L'Sudasa, and of course, Shalashud is B'nei Hechala Dichsifin. These are three poems, three songs written by the Ari. I highly, highly, highly recommend. Don't just say it. Learn the words, because it's in Aramaic, obviously. Learn the words. They're basically, it's giving over the whole Zohar in a song of what each Seudah is all about. But it always opens up with saying the following words. By us, we sing it. Askinu sudasa demenusa shleima sached vasa demalka kadisha askinu sudasa. The Hasidim, they all say it. Askinu sudasa demehemenusa. Let me prepare right now. Let me do a seudah of emunah. Seudata demehemenuta. Where else during the year do we have the word mehemenusa? Sometimes we refer to it. Matzah. And also Sukkot. Tseila demehemenusa. Matzah is mechla demehemenusa. All these things, bread of faith, shade of faith, a seudasa de mehemenusa, a shadow of faith. So on the pshat, that means, okay, we're going to talk about emunah at the Shabbos table. Say that, that's always encouraged. Let's hear Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter to give us a better taste of what this means. You see it, you have inside Kuf Ayin Vav, everyone has more or less? Askinus das mehemenusa shleimasa. Yeah.
Every single meal.
Yeah.
Not just one of the meals.
Right. Night, Shabbos day, and Shalosh Shudas. Yeah. I thought you meant Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That'd be he said every single meal. Like, wow. Frumis. Askinu Sudas of Memenusa Shlemasa. Asudas Kedusha Shel Shabbos Nikra Seudos de Memenusa. These Shabbos meals are called Seudot. Seudata de Mehemenuta. Now, obviously, we've spent a lot of time discussing, what the Shabbos table should look like, different things in the Shabbos table, realizing that you may turn your kid off of Yiddishkeit for the rest of his life based on the way that you conduct yourself at the Shabbos table, and you may also turn on your children for the rest of their life by the way that you conduct yourself at the Shabbos table as well. It's a big, big tikkun. It's a big inyan. Very, very big. Habiyur hanachon b'zeh. What does this really mean, these Seudat mehemenusa? Seudah she'anu orchim lichvod ha'emunah ha'kdosha. Ha'emunah ha'torah. She'yarashnu ma'avotenu ha'kdoshim. She'rak b'zchuta anu am nitzchi. He uses an interesting lashon. It's actually a Seudah that we are making in honor of the emunah that we inherited from our parents. It's not I have to work hard on believing in Hashem at the Shabbos table. Let me give over drushes of Emunah. What does it mean that I'm making a Seudah in honor of Emunah? In honor of this inheritance. It's a wild thing. What I feel like he's basically saying to us is as follows, and I'm sure this is open for interpretation. I mean, you can take it to wherever you want, obviously, as long as it's in the Gedder of Halacha. But what I think he's saying over here is like this. Many times, we're just, because of the rote, because of just the way we do things, we don't realize that some of the things we have planted in us, instead of just making sure I'm working on it, I also have to acknowledge it and praise it and be thankful for it, honor it. He's saying the Shabbos meals are like these moments of saying, Ani achshav, I'm like, and the honoree is, right? And the winner is, or like the person that's being not, at dinners when they have the, people that they basically want to raise a lot of money for the shul and they give them honors, right? The honorees we're honoring right now the Emunah HaTeorah shezachinu she'irusha lanu me'avotenu. This is what's happening at the Shabbos table. The Shabbos table is the setting for honoring Emunah, giving honor to Emunah that we inherited. It takes us so much away from the way we usually approach Emunah of saying, okay, I gotta talk about this, I gotta talk about this. Whoa, wait a second. Come to the table. What are we honoring right now? We're honoring Emunah. We're honoring the faith, the precious and pure faith that we inherited from our holy fathers. Sherak b'zchuta anu am nitzchi. The only claim we have to bombing the daylights out of Gaza and Bezrat Hashem, all other areas that need to be bombed, is b'zchut ha'emunah that we're an am nitzchi. It's b'zchut the faith, which is what makes us an am netzach. All those other things that we thought it's in the schut of that, it's in the schut of that. Like Rav Asaf quoted last night from Zechariah, Lo b'chayav lo b'koach kim beruchi amar Hashem tzvakos. It's not, it's getting clearer to us. In the schus of the emunah, we are an am nitzchi. Not because it made sense to me, and I like the passion of being IDF, and Dove loves wearing green, so it's going to remind me of, many colors look good on you, the truth is, right? Yeah. It's b'zchut the emunah that I'm an am nitzchi. This is how I come to the Shabbos table, and he's going to elaborate. V'al ken. Yesh la'aroch ha'seudot lelo atzvut u'lelo kas. If the Shabbos table is a ma'ama, and this is a big one, nishta pashut zach, not so simple. Saying if the meals really are an opportunity to now give honor to that which makes us an am netzach, lelo atzvut u'lelo kas, with no sadness and no anger. And we all know that one of the most dangerous battlefields we have on these midot is the Shabbos table itself, based on probably 80% of the conversations I know I've had with each of you in this room. That zone, that battlefield, and usually it very much is dependent on the disappointment we have from either our children or from guests or whatnot, and we go into the zone of atzvus and kas, even though we don't show it, it's there. Oh man, I wonder, I'm sure at that family's house, the Van Dykes, they're not, I said Van Dykes, right? You don't get the reference. And you get it, right? Kilo, the perfect fam. I'm sure they're sitting, sweetly, and everyone's just waiting for all the soups around, the table. Everyone gets soup, and everyone's waiting for Abba to take the first soup, and then everyone else will take the first. Mamash, yeah. It's always there, by their house. That's how they do it, right? Ma pitom. This should be a Kabbalah that we make on ourselves right now. Mamash, take a Kabbalah on yourself. No matter what's going to happen. No matter what's going to happen.
And what's going to happen today, Erev Shabbos, to lead into it.
Erev Shabbos, we remember we discussed that when we were still in the office. We were discussing how Erev Shabbos is basically already, from the first Erev Shabbos that ever took place in the world, is a Mu'ad LePuranut. It's a time that's basically, why is it so wild? Because it's the time of where the premortal sin took place. The eating of the tree of knowledge took place Erev Shabbos. So since then, every single Erev Shabbos, Friday afternoon, is nuts. because it's waiting for a tikkun over there, and that's crazy. And we did like 3 or 4 shiurim just on like that period of right before. So now we're already coming Shabbos. We're already here. I'm tired. These guys daven so long over here. I don't know, whatever the excuse to say, you know.
These guys don't daven long enough.
Huh? These guys don't daven long enough. Atzvus lo kas. We can make a Kabbalah on ourselves, no matter what. Ki arei al tanuk shel Shabbos, because about the pleasure of Shabbos, nemar shu b'vchinas nachla bli mitzarim. Because we know that when someone is in tune with what Shabbos is waiting to give you, it's an endless gift. It's a gift that has no ends. It has no frame. It's a nachla bli mitzarim. It's going to a place of bliss where nothing bothered. There's nothing that could stop you. Reb Shlomo said, how do you know if you're in touch with Kedusha or not? He said, if you're in touch with holiness, if you really would never want this moment to end. Ever. That's a holy moment. A holy moment is that you never want this moment to end, Reb Shlomo would say. That's Kedusha, right? So imagine having moments like that at our meals where we could really say, without looking at our watches or when the next dish is coming out or not coming out, this right now, what's happening, nachla bli mitzarim. I could have this moment last forever. I could be here forever. I could be here forever. That's I think what he's leading us to, what he's pushing us to try to attempt to achieve. Because this bliss of Shabbos is nachla bli mitzarim. It has no end. It has no pain. It has no limits. It has no limits. Thank you. Kmo shamru Chazal, like the Gemara in Shabbos says, Kol ha'me'aneg Shabbat notnim lo nachala bli mitzarim. Whoever me'aneg, that means like you bliss Shabbos actively, right? You bliss out Shabbos. You please the Shabbos. You allow Shabbos to Shabbos you. You give nachla bli mitzarim. Lachen. So, by the way, I feel like that sometimes when we're davening. I do feel like that sometimes when we're davening. That place of like this. If this never ended, would be gewalt. That's not such a. I mean, that's a test, Baruch Hashem, that we've been able to somewhat connect to. But the real test starts at home at your Shabbos table with your family. It's not a chokhmah to say Shabbos was gewalt. Really, what was it like? Oh my God, the davening was just fire. It was amazing. Yeah, and then what happened at home? No, don't ask. It's not. Lachen tzarich sheyeh ta'anug zeh. Therefore, this ta'anug, this pleasure that's waiting for you at the Shabbos table, tzarich sheyeh ta'anug zeh lelo tzar v'kas u'mitzarim shonim, and different constraints hamitzirim that constrain nefesh ha'adam. Zot omeret like this: if you know already before Shabbos that certain something is going to happen again at Friday night, then you should scream at your kids as loud as you can before Shabbos to make sure it doesn't happen again, right? Just want to see who's listening. Ma pitom. It means that you already mekabel that is not going to be the thing that stirs me. When you connect yourself to the koach of Shabbos, you're not going to believe how much koach you have lidgaber on certain things that you just say, listen, these things drive me crazy. En ma la'asot, they drive me nuts. And I'm not speaking about certain guests that you know that always come and that always bring up conversations that you don't want. That you have an achrayas, you're the balabait. You set the tone. We've spoken about that as well. You set the tone. Without mevayashim, not embarrassing someone, but you're the balabait, you're bala shulchan. Kol ma shomer chabayit aseh chutz mitzeh. The problem is, once you invited them, you can't get rid of them. You can't say tzeh. You can't leave. That's what the Chazal tell us. But you set the tone. So, but, and this is something I think everyone can connect to. If you know your kids go through the same mishagas every Friday night, fighting over chairs, fighting over who gets first, fighting over certain dishes, v'chule, whatever, you could try as much as you can during the week to speak about anything that would help the matzav. But b'shas ma'aseh, but when it's happening, you have to already before Shabbos say, whatever is going to happen tonight, the Van Dykes don't exist in my mind. I'm not going to the comparing room, because when I go to the comparing compartment in my mind, that's an invitation for meitzarim, for constraints, feeling boxed in, judgment, atzvus, and kas, sadness and anger. But these are all, Kabbalah's work. Taking upon our things actually work. So it's an inyan. Making a Kabbalah, yeah.
Let's talk about real topless. What happens? I don't know if
This wasn't real tachlis
Yeah,
until
no,
now.
like, I know for me, maybe not other people. Kids go to shul, they eat a ton of candy. I'm guilty of it. They come home wild, of course, because they ate a ton of candy.
Yeah.
Then they start fighting. Inevitably, one kid misses Kiddush because he's upstairs in his room, slam the door, whatever. You make Kiddush without the kid, you know, just move on and say, sorry, you missed Kiddush, you wait, you know, I don't know.
Each home, this is,
I don't know.
well, A, yes, but B, that's for sure. We're on our way done with that. The whole concept of candy and shul is, you realize it's again, something that has been picked up on for years that has, if you think about the effectiveness of it, right? Does that bring a kid to come and be in shul more? No, it makes a kid to come to get the candy more and then do whatever, right? Banging kids in the head with the cool thing when I was a kid was that when we were at bar mitzvah, who would bring the helmet, right? What team of the helmet would you bring to shul on your bar mitzvah Shabbos? You're getting Aliyah Torah. Such good things. But regarding your question, each family knows on its own, you know, the ability to wait or not wait or whatever it is. But even if you're waiting or not waiting, lelo atzvus lo kas is the point over here. The decisions you make are each family on its own has to know what works best for them and think about it really clearly. But one thing is shaveh lekulam. Atzvus and kas have no place at that table. So it's good you're bringing it up, but you understand, no one can give you to say, you should wait for 7 minutes. After 7 minutes, they're still in their room, then I would say you should do kiddush. I don't know. Maybe for some families, it's to not wait at all and to go peacefully. Maybe if you start doing kiddush after the kid slams the door and the kid hears you doing kiddush, you're about to, it's gonna become mamish wild. I don't know, you know. Each family has its own Torah. But the point over here is the atzvut and the kas. That's the point that he's leading us towards, that he's showing us is really what the whole point is about. Ki lishon hazor hakadosh al tarnugei Shabbos, second line from the bottom on the right column. ועל זה בואי לעם גלי במחלה ובמשתה, בלבוש היקר בחד ודקלה. ועל זה צריך לענג את השבת במאכל ובמשתה, בלבושים מכובדים ובשמחה. On this concept of lichvod the emunah, that what's the emunah of Shabbos? Is that right now, by not doing any melachas, I'm actually doing Ratzon Hashem. By right now letting go of being in control, that's how Hashem decided to create the world. By actually refraining from the mindset of having kochi ve'otzem yadi and saying, I'm refraining, that emunah tehora, that precious emunah, that's something that's Yerusha from us. I adorn it, I honor it, I give it so much kavod. You have to lanek the Shabbat, and I do that through ma'achal, through mishteh, through food and drink, and I also look like a mensch, ubesimcha, and the whole atmosphere is besimcha. וצריך להשתדל שתענוג השבת יהיה ללא חיסרון. You should have everything you need. Now, this is a little bit tricky, because on the one hand, we learn, based on the Gemara, this Rav Kluger taught us this, that a person has to go into Shabbos with the soundtrack of Kol Melachtecha Asuya, Klum Chaseh Bebeit HaMelech. So, the merit, any email you got to or didn't get to, anything you were supposed to do or didn't do, and I know this is going to be like the real hard one for some people. Buckle up, okay? This is going to be hard, okay? All the blot of Daf Yomi that you missed and you set to catch up on Shabbos, right? And you go into Shabbos and you're thinking, okay, I got, Shirat David, they daven long, so I could do 3 blot Shacharis and Musaf Shabbos morning. At least I can catch up 3 or 4 blot during davening, right? Notice I'm being extremely sarcastic right now, nachon? All the things that I leave for Kilo I didn't get to, you have to go into Shabbos saying, Kol melachtecha, it's all done. There's nothing I need to do right now. Why? So that I could feel that Kol ma shanashama shli tzricha holechet lekabel achshav, that everything that my soul really needs is present to be receiving. That's why the beginning of Shabbos is called Kabbalat Shabbat, to receive what Shabbos is going to give me. But if I go into Shabbos thinking about all the things I still need to do, or that are waiting for Motzei Shabbos, who am I kidding? You're not Mekabel Shabbos. You're Shomer Shabbos. You're not Mekabel Shabbos. Kabbalah Shabbos. That's how it starts. To receive Shabbos. To receive Shabbos, I have to feel that it's all, that literally, it's all good.
Except.
Not on Shabbos. Just a private joke. Zev used to, we were in yeshiva together.
You can tell the whole thing.
It's just, no, I'm not, because
I'm just saying I'm not embarrassed.
it's an early Friday. I'm not going to do the whole thing. After one of Zev's interesting conversations with our Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Bravender, should have a refuah shlema. So Zev ended the conversation by telling Rav Bravender, Rebbe, it's all good. It's all good. And he said to him, Zev, except when it's not. That's what he would tell him. Except when it's not. But on Shabbos, it actually is all good. That's the Indian. On Shabbos, it really is all good.
Can I ask a quick question on this?
Yeah, sure.
The catch-up thing.
Yeah.
Is it? Remove it from the time of tefillah.
Yeah.
If somebody goes into Shabbos saying, "Oh, I wish I could have caught up on my learning,"
Beautiful.
catch up on Friday night. That's not what you're saying.
No, beautiful. The whole are you kidding me? Shabbos learning. What did we learn? What did we learn once about every hour of learning on Shabbos? Ben Ish Chai says, right?
I'm saying, like, if a person goes into Shabbos saying, "I'm banking on, like, oh, I meant to catch up on Tuesdays, Thursdays learning. I'm going to save it for Friday night." Is
Good.
that Tomalach to close Suya? That's not what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying, but it actually is a good aim. If you save catch up of all your learning or all your tehillim consciously during the week, it's because you know you'll have more time on Shabbos. You have to be real with yourself. If really that's the inyan, that you really just don't have time because you're working so hard during the week, then I see you. 1 second. Then be'emet, said Baruch Hashem, Shabbos learning on Shabbos, beautiful. That's not melacha. That's. But this is the real thing. Let's say you caught up with everything, right? Then and you don't have to fill your time with anything. That's the test. Can you be with Shabbos? Can you just be with Shabbos? Or you always have to figuring out things how to fill Shabbos with. Real conscious, like I feel like this level we have to enter into is just like we know, can you just be with yourself? Can you be with Hashem without saying words? Can you just be with Shabbos? That's hopefully because that's Nachla Bli Mitzarim. That is the place where, if you could be that, just be with Shabbos. What do you mean? What am I supposed to learn? I don't know, but that's not the point. What am I supposed to daven? I don't know. Shabbos is more than just davening and eating. It's bigger than that. But right now we're just speaking exactly about the Seudot of Shabbat. Yeah.
It's not an inyan at Shirat David, but by the Ashkenazim in the Bameh Malikim.
Yeah.
There's a pasuk that you say that says you should check your pockets.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a nice word on this that, we're not supposed to carry on Shabbat, but more than that, you should empty your pockets of everything during the week.
Beautiful.
And
beautiful.
Literally,
do you know how much? If you guys, I mean, you could check this. I hope it's clear now. Do you know how much cash is by my stender upstairs?
Good to know.
Do you know how many coins at Mincha I have found? Like I literally, because there's so many coins and guitar picks that are by, because I'm emptying the pockets right before somehow it gets in this. I connect it very much. Okay, let's continue. Again, וצריך להשתדל שתענוג השבת יהיה ללא חיסרון. Like you don't feel like you're missing anything. You're not saying to myself, oh, it's on the cheshbon of this and that. That's why, like onegs, I'm not so big on onegs, which when it's on the cheshbon of the seuda, it's not so much my thing. Like, or chabura's Friday night, because the time that's set, that precious, what you could achieve at the Shabbos table, you can't be looking at your clock. It's not a good thing. Nachla bli mitzarim. חסר לו בתענוג. וכשיש לאדם עצבות או כעס, חסר לו בתענוג. כי כמו שצריכים כשתבוא שבת יהיה ביניך כאילו כל מלאכתך עשויה, like we just said, just like it should be. That when you come into Shabbos, you have to feel like all your melacha is done. שלא תהרהר אחר מלאכה. That you shouldn't be thinking about what job I still didn't do or what's waiting for me, כלשון רש"י. כן צריכים להתפנות מכל עצב וצער בין גשמי ובין רוחני כאילו אינם במציאות, which is very hard for us these days. To go into Shabbos right now and not thinking about, chayalim is like is literally impossible. And I'm sure in the B'Shas Melchama, there's no expectation for us, to even go into that, to go that far, because to a certain extent, Shas Melchama, everything changes. We're all on the front line on a certain level. But let's say it's not Shas Melchama. What is it like then? כן צריכים להתפנות מכל עצב וצער בין גשמי ובין רוחני כאילו אינם במציאות כי אין השכינה שורה מתוך עצבות. Because literally if it's the day of the Shechina comes back and hangs out with us for a day and it sees Tzabrochen Yidden, it sees Yidden that are basically, just Tzabrochen on Shabbos, then it's like, okay, you're right, I'm going to go to the Van Dykes, And in your mind you're thinking, Shechina, maybe the Shechina is not here, it's there. On a very Lamaisa level, this is like the type of learning that I feel may seem so simple, and yet if this stuff could be implemented and discussed between us, what are your tactics? Like, how do you work like this? How do you do this? How do you get to a place of really going into Shabbos and deciding that whatever happens at the table, at the Seudah, now we're speaking specifically about the Seudah, that whatever happens, it's not going to bring me to a place of atzvus and kas. That doesn't mean you're not supposed to mechanech. It doesn't mean you're not supposed to come and say, listen, let's learn this. It's not a hefker. It's not a ptor. It's not like an opening for hefker. Like, hey, if Yaakov Meir Shechter taught based on the Zohar, and we say, Sudas Neimenusa, whatever goes, and your kid, and your kid decides, listen, right now I really want us all to say the funniest thing that we could say about someone that looks weird in shul. Hey, lo atzos lo kas, that's fun. No, you got him. This is demanding of us. This is pnima stuff. But if we can makabel this on ourselves, if I could guarantee it, I'm certain that the home, not just the Shabbos table, the home changes. Now again, Shabbos table is mamash. Because the Satan knows that if you could go and have a Shabbos table, bli mitzarim, when a Yid gets nachla bli mitzarim, Satan knows he's done. The other side knows I got nothing. And therefore it'll work hardest dafka in those places. It will. It'll show up even harder in those places. Preemptive strikes means I'm going into Shabbos already, understanding that if Friday afternoon gets a little tough, it's not my fault. It's when Chava began to eat this is how it started. But I go into Shabbos and I'm saying, I want to mekabel Shabbos. Hashem says, you want to receive what I want to give you? Yeah. Hashem says, clear your pockets. Make space. Like Reb Shlomo said, take off your old herring from last week from the plate that you have on right now, so I can give you a nice, good geschmack herring. He would always use herring, mashallah, for some reason. He says, Hashem wants to give you so much more. Just remove it. Get it off the plate. Kol melachtecha asuya is the way we take things off the plate. So I want to give us a bracha. This small eitzah could be that which literally sets your children's path for the rest of their life and gives them a vision when they're looking for a zivug of what they want their Shabbos table to look like. Because to me, that's one of the most important questions that you could ask each other. What do you want your Shabbos table to look like? But then to not freak out that after you fell in love, and for Shana Rishona, the Shabbos table mamish looked like that. Although towards the end of Shana Rishona, you realize you really miss your mother's meatballs, and she's trying, but doesn't get to it. So the smile gets a little bit less wide, and she's saying, you're not singing any of the Nigunim I grew up on. Whatever, these things happen. But if the vision is, I want a Shabbos table that's in honor of the Emunah, a Tehorah, then those things, those differences, don't stir things up. They don't stir things up. Because there's no same Shabbos table unless you're marrying your first cousin that you spent every Shabbos with together your whole life, which was the case for many years in Eastern Europe. Also, I'm sure by Edot Mizrach as well. Yeah?
Father-in-law and mother-in-law first.
Ken. This was Ken. Nachon. But I'm saying,
I know explains that.
you shared it, no? Alavai, our Shabbos tables, Alavai, our Shabbos table should be something that we're proud of. Something that but Chevra, Kabbalah Alabah. Take it on now. Yeah?
Kabbalah.
Yeah, we're taking this on now, that no matter what happens, Yeah? You know, no matter what happens this Friday night, no matter what happens tomorrow at lunch, no matter what happens at Shalosh Shidduchos, no matter what happens. Chevra, are you Makabel?
That's when things start to happen. I'm a Kabul to try.
Let's give each other koach in this department. It'd be good for all of us. So. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Chevra, it's